Strategy versus scattergun.
We are so obsessed with tactics in this industry. Everything you know is wrong.
Live and breathe property every single day. So talk to them in language that they understand. That is where the gold is, and that is free marketing.
It's PR. Because you've got no money, no budget, no customers.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It only costs you time. You've got enemies, well done.
But people buy people. The thing that's going to then get you over the line is, okay, Matt, I see what you stand for. I see what you're all about. I trust you. I trust you with my biggest asset.
If you start with your marketing, your sales gets easier. Yeah. So marketing then sales, not sales and marketing.
So good or bad recruitment can either scale or destroy your agency business. Are you wasting hours on CVs, bad interviews, and paying huge recruitment fees? If so, there's a smarter way. Inside Talent is the Netflix of estate agency recruitment. They hire, train, and retain all under your brand for one simple monthly fee. So, podcast listeners, you're going to love this. Look out and make sure you lock this down. It's 10% off their yearly subscription when you contact the team at Inside Talent and quote #Showdown. Now, you need to check them out, don't you? www.insidetalent.com. Inside Talent, smarter hiring made simple. Welcome to the latest episode of Estate Agent Showdown. And I'm fortunate and grateful and privileged to be with the queen of marketing. Is that better?
Let's go with that.
Okay, Kirsty Franks of Frank Marketing and the king, or would you prefer prince of marketing?
I'll go for king if she's
King?
the queen.
Okay.
Let's not demote me from the start.
Well, look, if people would have, watched what was going on just before this, they may have said something different. But Simon Leadbetter.
Let's be nice to him
We
to
are
start with.
unchained.
We are
unchained.
Completely.
Unchained to what?
Unchained to bad marketing.
Okay, well, let's talk about marketing and bad marketing. So here's my question to you. Strategy versus scattergun. In a state agency, what works best, scattergun or strategy? Who would like to kick us off?
Shall I go? Shall I go?
She doesn't like to control the narrative, apparently.
I know my place.
Come on then, kick us off.
Okay,
Kirsty.
so what we see across the whole sector in many, many, many places is a scattergun approach to marketing, right? So we've got agents who are trying the new latest fad, trying some kind of marketing, advertising and lead generation for a few weeks, giving up because they're not getting the results that they want. And it's unsurprising because there is no element of your marketing delivery that is going to be successful if you don't have a strategy and a plan. And so I think most agents start without doing the thinking, really focusing on who they are, what makes them different, what they're trying to achieve, what's happening in their local market, creating a really solid, detailed, at least 12-month plan.
Yeah.
Go on, Simon.
Yeah, well,
dying.
I mean, no, we'll agree on this part. I think there is a stage.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
No.
Can we start again? Can't have you agreeing right at the outset.
We are so obsessed with tactics in this industry, and it's all scattergun. It's what's called tactification.
Yeah.
There's actually a stage before strategy, which Professor Mark Ritson, who teaches the mini MBA in marketing, calls diagnostics or diagnosis. I call insight. Is before a thought about strategy to what you said about really understand who your customer is. I would say, and I say this in a presentation I do, is everything you know is wrong. We all start with assumptions. We all assume we know our market, but most businesses, most estate agents, most letting agents will know a tiny fraction of their market, the people they speak to. But that's not the market. And you've really got to understand in a deep insight, deep research, deep data, exactly who your customers are, what they think, how they behave, and critically, where you fit in their kind of portfolio of things they're interested in. Because people move every 7 to 13 years. This won't be top of mind. But by understanding what motivates them, your strategy can keep in touch with them for the period between buying or selling or letting homes.
And it's, as estate agents, we've got a really skewed version of what our customers want. We live and breathe property every single day. We understand about legislation.
Would you challenge that? Are you challenging that thought process?
Absolutely, because everything from a marketing perspective must be coming from the customer's perspective.
Yeah.
So talk to them in language that they understand. They don't understand renters' rights. They don't understand legislation. They don't understand everything that comes with a state agency. They're moving on average 7-8 times.
They don't understand this between exchange and completion.
Yeah.
They literally don't understand the basic language that we use. Market appraisal. What? Vendor? What? You know, we use language, we use jargon all the time in industry for people who are not in this industry all the time. When we do the Voice of the Agent survey that we do, we ask one question, which is, how many estate agents or lettings agents can you recall off the top of your head?
And this is, if you don't know about the Voice of the Agent survey, this is to estate agents.
Estate and letting agents.
And letting agents.
Yep.
And that's the question that you asked.
Yeah, we asked lots of questions. It's like a huge book. Kirsty very kindly came onto a debate about one of the topics we were covering.
It surprises me. It surprises me.
No, we're okay. We're okay.
We'll be friends
after all,
today.
she is the female Simon Leadbetter.
Can we come back to
That's
this?
more like it. Can we build on that?
Can we come back to this?
We'll come back to that.
And now it's called Showdown.
Come on, we're going down rabbit holes now. Go on, take us back to that.
With Voice of the Agent, we ask how many can you recall?
Yeah.
The average is 4.
And that, what, to an estate agent themselves? And how many do they recall?
No, to members of the public. Members of the public.
So they're consumers, the people in their marketplace, on average, will remember 3 to 4.
But a third can't recall a single one. Not one. We live in an industry where we see our brands and names everywhere all the time and think everyone must know estate agents.
Yeah.
They don't.
No.
They live in a world where this is just occasional interest to them when they're looking at a property. We think the boards are everything. They are if you're in the market.
Yeah.
But how do you maintain that relationship between a transaction?
Let me take you back for a second.
Yeah.
I know you're gonna come into this one, but why do estate agents not go down this route first and literally probably just go into the scattergun? They're firing the bullets around the whole marketplace. Why do they do that first?
Because it's not the easy answer.
Okay.
It means that you've really got to put some time aside to do the thinking, do the analysis, and do the planning. And we know, I'll refer back to your survey again. We know that over 90% of estate agents are running marketing in-house.
Yeah.
And over 50% of those have marketing being delivered by somebody where they've got another job. So they might be an administrator or negotiator, and they're doing a bit of marketing as a side hustle for that estate agency. Yeah. We also know that the biggest challenge that estate agents have is lead generation.
Yeah.
So those two things don't marry up for me. We've got the biggest problem being lead generation and not enough focus and attention being put on marketing. So what happens is we think, we need to generate some more leads. Let's just do some marketing because that's the answer, right? But actually,
what do they normally go to first?
Well, let's just turn on some Facebook ads, shall we? Or let's just chuck out a Royal Mail door drop. Or the new thing is, let's make sure we've got some video on social media. So
and
let's
tell
just
everybody what you sold.
Do a bit of that. Yeah, and the right move pie charts. Yeah.
There's even a strategic way to do that. If you want to do the tactical stuff, there's even a strategic way to go through it.
Okay.
So start with insight, then strategy. Make sure you have the right people on the bus. You know, if people are doing it as part of their job, they're not doing marketing properly. When you then decide you want to do something, there's a model called PESO. Okay. Paid, earned, shared, owned.
He loves an acronym, doesn't he?
Yeah, I missed
I used to have some good acronyms when I was in the corporate world. I won't go through them now, though.
I do this with clients, and I just run through. So paid, earned, shared, owned. Owned is your website.
Yeah.
Most websites in our industry are rubbish. Genuinely rubbish.
True
I had
story.
one I looked at, and basically their security level was 0.
Right.
It was completely hackable.
Okay, that's
and
interesting.
The content was rubbish. It was non-dynamic. They'd paid £35,000 to have it built, and it was rubbish. Shared. What are you doing on social media? Before you get to paid, what about organic?
Yeah.
Putting interesting content out there. You know, as Christopher Watkins says, go and find the local Facebook groups and be a participant in the discussion about something everyone's interested in, property. Earned. Most businesses don't do PR. They don't have influencers. They don't have the people who can actually get the eyeballs of people. I was doing some analysis the other day, and I think there's a local newspaper where someone said local newspapers are dead. They've got 4.6 million visitors a month on the local newspaper.
Right.
That doesn't sound very dead to me.
No.
And then finally, paid.
And it could be their target market that's looking at that.
And over 55s predominate on regional press. Kind of people who've got money will be upsizing, downsizing, depending on where they are in their life cycle. But these are the core audience for you. And all of them matter.
I'm going to disagree with you.
Yes!
To know
Come on! This is more like it, Bertie boy. We're on. Get this quick.
So the piece that I think is fundamentally missing from what you just said is, what are you doing with your existing database?
Yeah.
What are you doing around making sure you keep in touch with the customers that already know and love you?
Because that's where the gold is, right?
That is where the gold is, and that is free marketing. And the number of agents that I speak to when I say, what is the size of your database? And they'll say, well, we've got a database of 50,000, but we're only talking to 1,000 of them because they're the only ones that are actually engaged or interested at the moment. And I'm like, no, this is your absolute goldmine. Keep talking to them, nurture them. They've all got friends, families, neighbors. Yeah. They're all going to move again at some point. They all can be part of your journey and your story. Stay in touch with them. So before you start going out there trying to buy new people and buy new customers, then talk to the customers that you've already got.
That said,
no, finish, because I think you're on something here.
Yeah, for me, I think I do agree that all of those channels, and there has to be a full mix marketing approach. Yeah. But if budget is tight, which it is for an awful lot of
Medium,
agents,
large, small,
right move costs are going up. We've got staff costs going up. We've got cost pressures in these branches. If you're going to start somewhere, talk to the customers that already know you. There's an absolute goldmine in there.
Yeah. But just sorry, Simon, you were going to say something. Go on, you go first.
That said,
go on. That's a very polite way of
the best way to plant a tree was 20 years ago.
Of course.
Or today.
Yeah.
The best time to start your PR strategy was 20 years ago or today.
Yeah.
So yes, I do say, and one of the things I teach is you go after your own email database. Yeah. But make sure you've made that database quality. Make sure you've nurtured it properly. If you suddenly start sending emails to people, you will be unsubscribed to at an epic level.
Okay.
The best thing you can do is a twin strategy between PR and email. Yeah. So I teach PR, email, social direct. Yeah. They're kind of the four riders of the marketing apocalypse. You do your PR because it's going to take 20 years, 2 years in real terms, to build your brand through PR. It means when someone gets your email, they're more likely to respond to it. If you just start emailing people, you are essentially falling into the trap of tactification. You're sending stuff unsolicited that people probably wouldn't want. If you have a twin track of launching your PR at the same time as you're doing your email, when your email response goes out, it'll more likely get a better response, because as all the data from Analytic Partners shows is the more channels you hit, and Google with 7-11-4, the more people you simultaneously hit people with, the better. So I would say 100%, 66% of your customers will come from your existing database. Okay. Nurture them. But if you just start spamming people,
it's got to be quality content.
Quality content supported by PR.
But Simon, PR, sorry, I'm asking questions and I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Kirsty, I am absolutely not surprised. You did lobby for Simon to be here today. No, I'm only joking.
But is that why I'm here? I am literally...
This is the brief. It's a debating show. I want you to do something.
I am the male Kirsty Franks. Excellent. All right, I can take that. All right.
But I think we've got to quantify to, a single branch estate agent that doesn't necessarily have somebody that's running marketing for them. What does PR mean for them? What can they actually do to make sure that they're running PR and they're running some tactical marketing?
Do you think agents understand PR?
I don't think they do.
Okay.
Some do, some don't.
And just coming back to your broader point around the ideas that you're both sharing, the biggest challenge from being an estate agent, running small businesses, starting on my own, is initially I wasn't even on Facebook or social media, but unbelievably, until I started my business. I only had to have an account, which I was completely against, to set up my company account page. Mm-hmm. And it was like, what the hell am I doing? No one told me what to do. So all I did is I just talked about what we did and why we did it, and talked about the team, talked about clients and success stories. And it really got some traction. I wouldn't say I had a strategy, but I knew that there was a potential, and I didn't even understand reach as well. I mean, this is like 13 years ago. I had no idea who was watching, who was looking. I just thought people that liked and comment were the only ones that actually saw it. Yeah. So I was completely clueless, completely green. And I'd imagine a lot of estate agents are in the same bucket today. But it comes back down to their time, does it not?
Mm. And if you're starting out, you are that single branch, or you're starting out as a self-employed agent. Yeah. One thing you've got probably on your hands is time. You've got no clients.
Okay.
So you should use that time wisely. That's why then you should reach out to local journalists. I used to work in local newspapers. When I used to work in Northcliffe newspapers, largest local newspaper group in the country, there was literally hundreds of people in every town working on that local newspaper. Now they're lucky if they have an office.
Yeah.
They are desperate for content.
Yeah.
The sooner you build that relationship,
You're in there.
You're in there. And if they go to you and you're producing interesting, reliable content about something that everyone's interested in, property, the chance of them reaching to you first, if you just go straight to email, because you don't have any, or social media, and that takes time to build an audience on, if you start that relationship now and give good content to people who are literally desperate for content, in 2 years' time, you will be the go-to expert. And if you are the local person,
how many estate agents look 2 years down the line, 3 years down the line, 5 years?
We agree on short-termification.
It's just 2 hours down the line, don't they? And that's because they've all been geared around results and geared around probably working in environments where there was a certain level of incoming inquiries, certain level of brand awareness where they were. So they don't really understand why sharpening the saw of marketing first and who you are, what you do, why you do it is so critical.
Yeah, and I think marketing is definitely something that's fallen down the to-do list, or certainly not been at the top of the agenda when either starting an agency or being a small agency or whatever size. I think in today's world, it has to be high up on the agenda, and I think there is more of an appreciation around that. Simon, to your point around maybe those that are starting out have got that time, I'd argue that they've got a million things to do to be able to get an agency up and running, certainly with everything that comes with that today. And I agree that content is the thing that's going to start turning the dial in terms of brand awareness. But I would definitely start with thinking about video and thinking about personal brand and thinking about how you, either from a PR perspective, but certainly across your digital channels and across social media from day one, from today, start thinking about how you can get authentic content out there in the digital landscape that doesn't sell, that doesn't talk about your agency, that really sells you as an estate agent and talks about your customers, your local area, the difference that you make, the problems that you solve.
Things they should know.
Things that they need to know to be able to choose you to sell their biggest asset.
And nothing could give you more credibility than your name appearing in the local newspaper. And that is about, when you have no reputation, your entire job is to build your reputation. Now, I'm not saying you're going to guarantee success, but most agents don't get it. They just don't understand the role that this has. If you are one of the smart ones and you go out and speak to someone who's literally desperate for water articles and give them water article, it's very likely, the joke we tell is they'll often basically copy and paste what you send them because they have no team anymore.
No.
But I think
Has Russell Quirk put 20p in you today?
He's already had his pitch.
But he buys very nice breakfasts.
Does he now? That's a shock.
No, the reality is, I work in startups. So I work for Dragon Off Dragon's Den, we work for fast growth startups. You may have heard of some of the little ones like LinkedIn. And we always said when we spoke to startups, the number one thing you do in your strategy is PR.
Okay.
And we kept banging it home. You've got no money, no budget, no customers.
It doesn't cost you anything.
It only costs you time.
Okay.
It costs you time to build a relationship. But no, there's no financial investment. And it takes time. And it
creates
time
that
to build.
trust, credible authority.
Exactly. Export, authoritative, trustworthy, all the EAT stuff.
So what stops people from doing that? Because I think this message has been shared before.
Well, they don't have a plan. Okay. So this comes back to
the why.
To the start of this conversation around this scattergun approach. Kirsty? I love a plan. The control freak in me. The control freak in me.
Keep doing that. It's putting me off.
It's putting me off as well.
Trying to throw off so I can change the odds on who's going to win this debate.
Trying to throw me off.
But the bit, I'm sorry, Kirsty. I'm just coming back to plan. But most estate agents don't have a business plan. So why would they have a marketing plan?
I mean, do we have time to go down that rabbit hole right now as well? I wouldn't be stuck.
It's a hell of a rabbit hole, but it's
really simple.
So without a business plan, how are you then going to set your marketing plan? Because what are you spending on marketing? So, on average, agents are spending between 10 and 12% of revenue on marketing, excluding portals.
Yeah.
Those that are
growth. But they'll all count portals in that spend.
Well, that needs to be excluded from that spend because that is not your marketing lead generation tool. And the sooner that everybody realizes
the clients that come from it can be part of your marketing plan.
Because they go into your database and you can nurture them and everything that we talked about before. but your actual marketing, brand awareness, lead generation, on average, 10 to 12% of your revenue. Growth agents, 15%.
Yeah.
So make a decision. What does that growth plan look like, and what are you investing to get there?
Just look at this, guys. If you're listening to this right now, and don't ignore this point, because it's something that I've also seen in estate agents with very, very small teams, how they look at their marketing spend, their investment, what's their ROI on what they invest in. Most don't give these things long enough. Would that be fair to say?
Absolutely.
And most don't actually know what percentage that they invest. And they do generally, nearly all to the word, would include the portals within their marketing spend. If I just said, what's the percentage of your market spend versus your turnover, they would quote or include the cost of portals.
If you put your
within
portal spend into your marketing spend, why aren't you including your electricity bill?
Yeah.
It's a hygiene factor, portals. Yes, of course they have a marketing role, but everyone has them pretty much. And the reality is, we talk about the numbers 8 to 12% and 15% for growth. We actually have the hard numbers.
Yeah.
We know that if you're starting out, there's some big research that came out of this, you need to spend 4 hours a day on your marketing.
Okay.
If you're starting out.
Right.
If you want to launch, you need to spend 30% of the revenue you want to make on your marketing.
Well, just on that 4 hours a day, because I think you alluded to it, and I do share your views, not to side with either of you, but the estate agents that I know that have set up on their own, they have a lot to do. They don't have a lot of time. They think they do when they start, but in my opinion, they need to be networking and getting hold of people that they know,
talk to people, have conversations.
You only convert in conversations. But anyway, the point behind it is that 4 hours is precious time in their mind. How does that return for that investment for an agent who's doing it right? Let's say they are going to say, do you know what? I'm committed to my business 6 days a week. I'm going to put 4 hours of marketing in every day. What type of marketing activities do they need to be doing in that 4 hours to achieve the results that you believe will return in the next, 1, 2, 3 years?
Yeah. And you need to combine an element of lead generation, what we call sales activation marketing, and try and get business now.
What would that include?
So that would be, I'm actually a big fan of the Michael McIntyre. It's quite an American strategy. Send to all.
Not the comedian.
Yeah, the comedian.
Oh, send to all. Yeah, it's text message.
We are all more powerful than we've ever been in our entire lives because we're connections to all the world's people.
That's a really good analogy. I like that. I went to that show and
I went to his very first show. It's hilarious. And actually, when I went to this is an aside. When I went to his very first show, one of the friends I was going with went to school with him.
Yeah.
And shouted out from the back, "I went to school with you." And Michael went, "That is the weirdest heckle I've ever had. I've got no idea how to respond to that." And it's the first time I actually shut up in the entire event because what do I say to that?
What would you just on that? Just because I want the agents that listen to this to really take some action. I mean, for me, I read this brilliant quote about the fact that people learn to procrastinate.
Yeah.
And I'm guilty of this as well. So this isn't a dig at anybody out there, but the send to all, let's just pick that as one. What would you send?
So I would argue, and I did this when I worked for Keller Williams, and I would teach this, is, I'm sorry to break it to you, Matt. Most people don't have a very high view of estate agents. Yeah. And that's bad news. Hard to take. I'm sure we'll have a hug later. But they may like you personally.
Yeah.
So those contacts you have in your phone, your contact book.
Might have to delete a few if I'm honest with you. But
I wouldn't say send to all. Be choiceful. Pick the ones you want to send it to.
Yeah.
But just mention that this is what you're doing now.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of.
And it's like, if you've got any questions about property, I am your friendly neighbourhood estate agent. Give me a shout. Because it might be that they, their aunt, their uncle, their brother, their sister, their cousin, their friend is thinking of moving house. And they go, you know what? Can't stand estate agents, but I really like Matt. I'll give him a shot.
Just on that, you're going to come in on this. You go.
So it comes down to your network and how do you attract people outside of your network. Yeah. So yes, of course, reach out to your contacts. Yes, of course, make sure you're doing that through various different ways, social media, WhatsApp if that works, email marketing. But if you want quick wins or quicker wins, the lead generation in terms of how we get new customers and new leads into the agency, I'd definitely be making sure your website will convert.
In what way?
So don't put barriers in the way on your website. So you make sure you go through different steps. I want to go, as a consumer, I want to get to that website I maybe want an instant valuation on my house so I can get an idea, and then I'll have a follow-up from that. I maybe want to book a valuation on the website.
Another step.
It's another step.
So if you've got a form that you fill out,
or if the only way to be able to speak to you is via telephone, I don't want to speak to you on the phone. So there's got to be different ways. So let's just think, how do we make sure that there's ways for everybody to get what they want from that website, whether that's be a telephone call, booking online so they don't have to speak to anybody, some kind of live chat so they get answered. Make it as barrierless as possible. Yeah. I'd definitely be looking at Google Local. So people are searching estate agent near me. So make sure your Google reviews that you've got are great, but you are appearing in that top 3 on estate agent near me for your area. And another quick win is around on-market and off-market prospecting. It's very much a digital landscape now. We have to look at all of the digital marketing channels, but print still works. Yeah. Not generic ChatGPT print that everybody's using, the same messaging, dear homeowner, beautiful, just branded, curious. On message, on point, that really shouts about why your agency is different, hitting the people that are thinking, that are ready to sell right now. Okay. And it's got such a strong return on investment. I agree with all of that,
and it's absolutely right. I think one of the first things you can do is value your time. Okay. Work out what your time is actually worth, because a lot of people are busy fools and spend the time doing
that's a
really bad
great
things.
exercise for anyone. And just on that, just when you're listening to what Kirsty just said, have a look at your website as a consumer.
So there's just on that one, there's a great site called website.grader.com. You can put your website into it, and it'll give you a score and tell you what's wrong with it. So that's a really simple tip.
Would you add that to the show? Just what was it again?
Website.grader.com. It's by HubSpot, so it's very powerful. It's a free tool.
And it just does
it'll give you a review. It'll give you scores on SEO, performance, mobile, and security. Wow. And basically, you give the results to your tech developer, and things can be fixed.
Okay, that's really good to hear.
So where were we going with that then?
We've gone down another rabbit hole.
I've gone down a rabbit hole. Value your time. No, this is really important.
I had another question. Go on, you go.
I'm 52.
I'm very good at listening, to be honest.
You're supposed to keep us on path, Matt.
I had another question. That's my problem. I'm ADHD.
Really? So you and me both. Very simple. This is going to be a disaster.
Could well be.
A rose between two ADHD. Can you imagine? 1,680. Divide what you want to earn in the next year by 1,680. That's how many working hours you have in a year.
Not for just marketing, but in general.
In general. Yeah. That is what your hour is worth.
Okay.
Any hour that you are not earning that means you can't reach your end of year goal.
Yeah, I get that.
Find people who are cheaper, better, and quicker than you for less than that. Yeah. And then you focus on networking, relationships, building connections with people. And then all the things like your website, not as important is, your mobile phone, without a website, without anything else, has in it people you can sell houses for.
100%.
So focus on what your time is worth. Work out the tasks that you really need to do and enjoy doing as an agent. You need to do everything when you start.
You do.
But those things you don't like doing, highlight them. Well, that's the job description of the next person you hire.
I completely agree. And I've done this with many agents that I've worked with, where we work out where their time goes and what do they do best with their time. So when they act in their kill zone, the place where they do their best work, they're probably only doing that for 20% of their week.
Yeah. And
then you look at the 80% and you could outsource nearly all of it. And we've done that with clients, and it's made such an incredible difference. Also, not to necessarily, I hate to say this, but in the modern world, hiring people is a lot more expensive.
Yeah.
So just coming back, there's something I wanted to talk about, and this personal brand and company brand. I wanted to touch on that because there's a lot of noise around all of it, and I believe that a lot of agents now, if they're in the corporate world, are not encouraged to build. And I use the word encouraged. They're told not to almost build a personal brand. I've had 2 agents message me recently say they can't comment on my posts because if they're seen commenting on certain subjects, it could be viewed negatively by their employer. So, the personal brand element's essential, isn't it, in terms of building the know, like, trust that you were talking about.
Hugely. So but you need both.
You need both. And we're going to come on to that. But if you were to start with one, which one would it be?
I think it very much depends on the business on the model that you're in. So obviously, if I come at this from a TPFG perspective. So I'm fractional marketing director for TPFG.
What does fractional mean?
I'm a consultant, I guess.
That's nice. Nice way of putting
Fancy
it.
word.
You get fraction of
You
her.
get a fraction.
You get a fraction of me.
Okay. There you go.
So obviously that is a brand business. It's a franchise business. So
Right, okay.
multiple brands. So let's take Martin & Co. for an example. Those business owners are buying a franchise. So they are buying into a brand because that gives them a head start in that local area to be able to operate under that very well-known, well-regarded, highly respected brand.
Okay.
So as a franchisor, we need to protect that brand and give them their group marketing activities so they really see the benefit of being part of that
And I
franchise.
suppose having strict guidelines around.
Certainly around kind of the brand guidelines of the brand. But as a group function, we are brand guardians and we are responsible for PR, brand awareness and lead generation. Then as a franchisee of an owner of, let's say, Wakefield, Martin & Co., they're very much then encouraged to take what they get at a group brand level and bolster that with hyper local marketing activities.
Right.
So personal brand, really local social media activity and content, really dial up what they're doing in terms of community and the conversations in making sure they're at events. They're doing landlord events. They're at the school fetes. They're being there in the community. So we're really pushing them really investing their time and money into that personal brand piece and that local marketing, but they get the best of both worlds because they're part of this big umbrella brand as well. Okay. So I know that's, a different situation, but in terms of an independent agent, the premise still stands. You need to have a brand that you are clear on who you are, what makes you different, what stands out from the competition, why anybody would choose you over any of the other 8 estate agents that are on your high street. That's got to be there as the foundations and fundamentals, but people buy people, right? Yeah. So the thing that's going to then get you over the line is, okay, Matt, I see what you stand for. I see what you're all about. I trust you. I trust you with my biggest asset. Yeah. So
you should work together.
We need them both. And I know that's not the answer that everybody wants because, that takes time. But then it comes back to how do we make sure that we put the time in the right areas?
Which one does what? And with regards to, you've got your personal brand, what you do, what you stand for.
I believe that your company brand attracts and your personal brand converts.
Ooh,
I disagree.
Yes, and again,
actually, it's not. I completely disagree. I agree with almost everything Kirsty's saying. And it's kind of like so much truth. I mean, literally everything she said. But we don't have brands in this industry.
No,
we have stickers above doors.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
I think we have very, very few brands in our industry. I would say I've worked for 4 or 5 of them.
Yeah.
I count Knight Frank, Fine and Country, Hamptons, John D. Wood. You'll notice something common in them.
Yeah.
Okay. Specific types of brands for a very specific kind of audience. Most brands are trying to be everything for everybody.
Yeah. They're
essentially just stickers above the door. If you took the logo off, you'd have no idea who it was.
Yeah. There
isn't any obligation on brand guidelines. I mean, if an estate agent ran an airline, you'd fly in green Ryanair planes or green EasyJet planes because they just don't care about the brand. Yeah. They don't understand the brand. And
that's a sweeping statement, though. I wouldn't put everybody in that umbrella.
I think if you do the research, brand awareness in our industry is rubbish.
Are you saying Kirsty hasn't done the research?
I think she's done the research. Of course she's done the research. She's a marketer.
Oh, she just flared her nostrils at me there.
She's one of the few people who will have done the research.
Well, but it is a good point.
I think the point is we need organisations. I think TPFG is a fantastic organisation with lots of really good brands. I would absolutely stand full square behind Kirsty to say they should be investing more in those brands. I stand as a completely outside
because they'll become more valuable to the franchise.
Every bit of sales activation they then do will work harder. And I remember working for some brands where we wouldn't let our agents do anything personally.
But isn't the market being told? Sorry, Simon. Isn't the market being told? Well, it's all about the individual. No like trust. You just be you and da 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 da, which is lovely. But do clients want to kind of know who they're dealing with in terms of they want that bigger piece of.
Well, we're going into the self-employed versus.
Well, you just slipped us into that little place, but I'm happy to go there. It really because ultimately, yes, the personal brand converts. And I think there's, you could have the best brand in the world. And I spoke to a very large premium brand organization yesterday about going to do some work with their agents, because the brand isn't the how did he call it? Like, it's not the parachute as such, and it does all of the work for them. They don't really bring that much to the table because they just rely on the brand heavily, and then it leaves them not converting what's already coming in. So I think that kind of summarizes that. But just coming back to it, I mean, if you were looking out there in the marketplace at the minute, there are a lot of bigger brands now growing their presence in the self-employed space. We could start there. And they're doing it through their agents' personal brands. Is that fair to say? What do you think of that tactic?
So
is that against what you were saying?
No, so I disagree with some of the approaches that are taken in the self-employed model. I think I've been self-employed since 2003, so I'm a massive advocate of self-employment. I know Steph Walker will hate me for saying this.
That's right.
It's not for everybody.
No, it's not.
I know she tells me off for saying it.
She will tell you off for
but
saying it.
I do not believe that the burden of self-employment is for everybody. It is simply not. Not everyone is cut out for that. And to say that, risk that person. I've seen people lose marriages and their properties buying into a dream of self-employment that turned out not to be reality. The salaried model works for some people.
Yeah. I asked this question on LinkedIn the other day, and it's really interesting that the mix was very good.
For the right person, self-employment is exactly the route you want to go down.
What percentage, though? What are we looking at?
A fifth.
Yeah. So you'll look 80-20 really in terms of security.
If you look at every other industry, and marketing is a huge world of self-employment, but if you look at government statistics on where self-employment tends to land in an industry, around about a fifth of a market can do self-employment on average. And I think getting to a fifth would be amazing. I think what self-employment has done has utterly shaken up the corporate brands, and that's really good, as Purple Bricks did in 2010.
Yes,
it took an industry that was complacent and said, this internet thing, we probably should get behind that.
Yeah.
And that was a really good change. Self-employment's done the same. What I think self-employment brands are not doing,
I'm going to ask you that,
they're not investing enough in their brand. They would have more people being more successful and fewer people failing if they invested in their brand, which would help those people who are struggling have the leg up to go and see more people, because people would know the brand.
Why do you
and
think
that's
they
a
don't do
miss.
And the ramifications of that are that self-employed agents probably need to spend double the time on personal brand activities than somebody because they haven't got it. So then you think about time. How are they supposed to do that? Because that is a huge commitment that it'll be very difficult to be successful without under the umbrella of a brand if you don't have a lot of time each week to invest in personal brand.
Just to underline that point, because Kirsty, we're going to agree now, horribly. Oh no, this is a problem. If you look at the data on what people invest in their marketing, self-employed agents invest as much as employed agents. The difference is the self-employed agent is paying for all of it themselves. What Kirsty and her team do at TPFG, what Emily Despoir at Fine & Country, I worked with when I was at Fine & Country, they're doing half of the journey, if not 60% of the journey. So when the agent goes, they only have to do the local, very personal bit. If you don't have that,
which is probably something that they would prefer to do, in all fairness.
Yeah,
and they've got more kind of, I suppose, expertise in that particular area.
Yeah, and what you don't want is a head office necessarily telling a local business exactly what needs to happen directly locally. But Canva is the end of civilization as far as I'm concerned, because everyone thinks they're an artist or a designer. Yeah. And there's some horrific stuff going out there because of Canva.
He's right. There is. It makes me cry.
Sorry.
The creative that I see out there now, that everyone's a designer and everyone's a digital marketing expert and everyone's a content writer. We're literally killing marketing in a estate agency.
Is that just because of what?
Well, we don't have enough marketeers in the industry, true marketeers.
We've got a lot of people that it's that side hustle.
Side hustle.
So their idea of marketing is what?
Oh, well,
I've got to get a post out.
Lucy can do a bit on social media, so let's give her a Canva login and we're golden. Yeah. That's it. Social media marketing ticked for this week.
There's no whole strategy, which is what we're talking about.
All that stuff we're talking about, which is in marketing terms, is called promotions. Okay. All the advertising, social, PR, that's called promotions. Marketing is that's 8% of what marketing is. You're talking about product, you're talking about pricing, you're talking about place strategies, you're talking about ethics, you're talking about
is AI going to make this worse? Is AI going to make this worse or better?
I think, there's some incredible things coming in terms of AI across the sector and how we're going to be able to improve lead generation, how we're going to be able to aid conversion, which I think is the most exciting area in where AI is going to make a difference. In terms of marketing, my worry is, listen, we're all using ChatGPT in certain areas, right? And making sure that we're using it and giving it the right prompts and the right information to get the most out of it.
Can I just ask you on that quickly? Have you ever copied and pasted something and left anything at the bottom where it said, "Do you want me to do X, Y, and Z with it?" I've done that recently.
I've dodged it. I've nearly done it.
And that's where I've stopped. It's what the hell have I just done?
Matt, I run a marketing agency, so if I was doing that at this point, I might fire myself.
Go on,
but my point is, we are in a industry that is hyper competitive.
It is extremely.
So what we all need to be doing is finding a way to stand out, truly stand out from the competition. If we are all putting out generic AI generated content that we're all using the same platforms for, so we've got the same blogs and the same email marketing and the similar social media posts and the same content across our prospecting, how on earth are we going to stand out? So yes, AI has a place in terms of marketing and content and creative, but only as an assistant and only ever to get you 50% of the way there. Because if you are not clear on what it is that makes you different and you have not instilled that into the fiber of your agency, then you're not going to stand out. And no amount of AI generated content is going to make a difference there.
Or AI will make most estate agents redundant.
Well, that's one of the big arguments, isn't it?
Because there comes a point when actually, to your point, I completely agree. What do you add? What do you add as an estate agent? What do you actually add as an estate agent? Yeah. I had an estate agent view my property in West London. It was the person showing people round, and they basically opened the bathroom and went, "This is the bathroom." Mm-hmm. They didn't even look at the floor
McDonald's
plan
advert that done that, didn't they? Do you remember that? It's like, what does a pound get you in McDonald's? And they've done the estate agent opening the door saying lounge. It's brilliant.
And it is, you have to add value. AI then is a most amazing assistant. I mean, a very quick tip on that is, so you don't get just bilge water created by AI, you have to put in lots of your existing writing.
Oh,
so it understands your writing style.
It needs to know your tone and who you are. And
use factual sources. So go and get the local newspaper, the link to that. Go and get the Wikipedia page for your local area. Yeah. Put those links in your prompt and ask it to write content based on actual facts. Yeah. And then never, ever take something from AI and post it directly out there.
I mean, I've never posted anything on it. I sent a message once, it was to one of the team, but it had the bit at the bottom and I was like, oh, for God's sake, why have I just done that? But the point is that I'm quite curious about AI. I'm quite interested in it. And for certain reasons, it's really beneficial to me. But I don't want to ever rely on it to build my my credibility, my authority, my individuality, authenticity. So it's a really good lesson for everybody out there. It's about how do you actually create your avatar in AI, and actually how do you use it as an assistant as opposed to, making sure it's just your.
And I think when you're thinking about personal brand, I personally use zero AI for anything I do with my own personal brand. So my own social media is every single word out of my mouth, because it has to be me. It has to feel genuine. It has to be authentic.
I think if I mean, that'll be pretty straight talking, I would have thought, on your post anyway.
I mean, I've written a post which will be out by the time this comes out. Called basically, I think human beings will be the vinyl of the future.
Yeah,
is because
people will be craving for it later down the line.
People will crave that authenticity, that originality.
I think they already are.
It will be
it's already
smaller than it is today. Yeah. Vinyl isn't selling what vinyl used to sell 30, 40 years ago. There will be some people who will stand out as authentic, as different, as distinctive from the rest, and it will be their authentic voice that people will want to hear. If you are just average, and let's face it, half of people have to be below average for there to be an average,
for sure.
Those people who are below average are going to really struggle. So I think saying, will the AI change things? It's like saying, will the internet change things? Did the Industrial Revolution change things? We are one of those generations living through genuinely
It's a big
an industrial revolution. So the sooner you can embrace it, the better, and work out how it works for you.
So it's the big thing for estate agents listening to this is, what do you do? The bit that you should be listening and taking away is, what value do you bring? And what do you need assistance with? And how do you create an AI assistant? Because ultimately that's what it is. It will cut out that support. But just kind of coming back to the personal branding thing, because what does it mean? What's your definition of personal branding, Simon, and what's yours, Kirsty?
What people say about when you're not in the room.
Nice. Okay.
So when I leave the room, you'll all be horrible about me. That's fine, and that's my reputation.
That's how she convinced me to get you on.
But no, your personal brand.
Just looked at me with daggers then.
We're friends. We can have you gigs.
Cut that bit.
But it's what people say about when you're at the room. So your personal brand is a combination of two factors: awareness and perception. How many people know about you, and what do they feel about you?
You just stole my line.
Sorry,
dude.
Well, it's because basically we're mind melding.
Stop it now. Just on that though, because I think a lot of people feel what people say. They worry about what some people say about them. That confuses then their personal brand, right?
So I put a poem out yesterday.
You're not going to be liked by everyone, and actually you don't want to be if your marketing's got impact.
You don't like everyone, do you?
No.
So why do we get hung up about everyone liking us?
But I imagine it's conditioned in some way, shape, or form in someone's behaviour.
So I put out a poem out yesterday on LinkedIn because I'm that pretentious at times. But it was very good, and I heard it on the radio. And I thought that is brilliant. Basically the summary is, you've got enemies, well done.
It kind of is, isn't it? It's clarity.
If you are, everybody thinks they're okay. You're not making any difference.
Remember in life?
No one. You've got to remember the people who made a difference, who had emotional reaction.
Do you know what the worst thing for me would be if somebody said, "Oh yeah, she's nice."
What do you think they say?
Well, I would rather be like, she's fun, she's a bundle of energy, she knows her shit.
Yeah, it normally has explosives in it.
Nice, yeah. Nice is just a bit meh, isn't it?
And that's what I think, certainly when you're talking about how you craft your words and what you share, it's completely in line with who you are. It's done by you. It's not done by AI. And how you show up in person, all of that kind of stuff, the more you kind of understand your values and all of those points that you're passionate about and you believe in, you are going to divide an audience. And that's actually a really good thing, isn't it?
There's a nice mantra I lived on. It's an old friend of mine who worked in the environmental movement a long time ago. And he talked about strong opinions lightly held.
Right.
Is have an opinion.
Yeah.
Have an opinion on something, especially if you're an estate agent in Boxmoor, in Hertfordshire where I live. Have an opinion about property in Boxmoor in Hertfordshire. Have an opinion on it and what it means.
But do it in a way that's relevant and authentic and will resonate with your audience, not just for not just
trying hard at trying to
not just being controversial for controversial sake.
You see a lot of that.
Yeah.
This wasn't my idea.
So, but it is. It's people trying to stand out, but they're doing it in a clumsy way rather than actually thinking about their audience and thinking what matters to them. Yeah. And let me try and stand out in a way that's going to resonate with them.
Again, that said, I agree with that, and that's advice I would always give. But some people have built their businesses by being controversial.
Oh, well,
and you can attract your tribe.
We know one, don't we?
There's a certain Mr. Quirk who has a reputation, which has won him more business from having that reputation than not having that reputation.
But for his audience, that works. He's selling PR, so he's showing that he can get PR by being controversial.
Arena, which, let's be honest,
say you want to just attract a specific type of customer, because they're the people you want to work with, then it's being authentic.
But an estate agent doing that to somebody selling a 300,000 semi-detached house is not the right message to that audience.
No. Or is it?
It depends, yeah.
I saw this lady on Instagram, and she literally had me in stitches doing a video. She's an American agent. I'll have to share it with you when I see it again. But she was really just taking the piss out of the houses that she was selling.
Was this the hide and seek lady?
There was that.
That is hilarious.
Her, and there's another one as well. And but anyway, the point is that she's attracted an audience through who she actually is, and she's getting really, really successful content out there into the market.
But she's not trying to be all things to all people. No. She's got a very distinct following, and a tribe, like attract your tribe. Yeah. But again, who do you want? Because if you're going to try and be vanilla and all things to all people, you're gonna miss the mark.
80-20 vanilla in our industry?
Do I think 80% of our industry is vanilla messaging?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And is that because estate agents generally don't like to be disliked? They like to be liked. They like to please.
I think they don't know how to create marketing and messaging that cuts through.
Who do they need? No. Anyway.
Can I?
That would be We Are Unchained. Obviously, that's who they need to talk to.
Oh my good God. This show is sponsored by. But
We Are Unchained.
Frank Marketing.
But just on that, I don't want to kind of. God, she's terrible.
You're terrible. I'm not.
The point behind personal branding, you eloquently put your point across about what that definition looks like to you. You then said he stole your line. Is there any more you want to add to that?
Yeah, so it was the feeling piece for me. So it's you want to be able to put content out there that you can wholeheartedly say, this is me, this is authentic, I'm being real. And the hope is the right people that are going to engage with you, that lands with them with a feeling that they think either, I want to understand more about her, I want to talk to her, I want to be part of her gang. And it evokes a feeling and that stops the swipe by.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lady
but you can only, sorry, Matt, but you can only evoke a feeling in somebody if you're really, truly being authentic.
Yeah. So it's got to cut through the noise.
There's a line that we both talk about, which is kind of, you want to be remarkable. And literally what remarkable means is worthy of remark. If you're just beige and you've got no opinion.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. How do they get, because estate agents really have got to showcase the property, right? That's part of the marketing mix.
And themselves.
And in getting that balance right, because I see some agents where it's all about them and not about the clients or the houses, and some that just do all about the houses and the clients and not about them. Is there a kind of like a...
For me, it's mixing the two. So if you're on camera showcasing a property and you're showing how excited you are about it, all the little nooks and crannies of this house, what's going on in the local area, you are showing your personality, you're showing the property off, you're showing that you know the local area. Yeah. And then to any other prospective seller, they're going, I want that guy selling my house because I like him. He knows his stuff. He knows the area. He's out there pushing this property on social media, not just sticking it on Rightmove. Yeah. That's what I want for my property.
It's called the power of you. If you go through your website, Toby Martin talks about this, and actually we talk about it a lot in marketing, generally speaking, is go through your website and talk about mark the amount of times you go I, me, us. It wants to be about you, they, them. And it's you talk about them. So yes, you can be the center of attention. No, they know about you because you're on camera in front of them talking. Yeah. But talk about the property, talk about the owners, talk about the story of that property. So you become a hero because you've made other people more famous.
We have sold more properties than anybody else in this area in the last 6 months.
The pie chart of death.
Number one market share. Just coming back to the theory side, because I'm thinking of estate agents that are watching this, listening to this, and I'm thinking, what will they do next? So let's go through the different sort of profiles. We've got independent, self-employed. So if you're in self-employed estate agent, we'll talk about what are your steps. Then we'll do middle market, which is what I consider to be 1 to 3, 1 to 5 branch estate agencies, and then the slightly larger. And if we could just do like some advice for each of those categories, I think that would be really useful. Things to look at, which we've covered already, but I would say actionable steps. Mm-hmm. So let's start with the
starting point is the same for all.
So just go straight to who you are.
Starting with who you are. What is your proposition?
Is that harder when you're 10 years in, 20 years in?
I think there's
to do or easier.
There's a thing here, and it's we were both marketing. We're both in marketing. There's a word there, market. Yeah. Marketing. Market. You start with your market. Nice. Yes, you should understand who you are. I completely agree. But you to be properly market oriented, you start with the market, and you spend a day, block it out. You don't do anything else. You get all the data and information you can to understand your market. Because I guarantee you, what you think your market, things like the ONS census data, which is freely available, will tell you a profile, and you'll go, I had no idea that was the profile of people around me. There's another tool called electoral calculus, which is used for election predictions. But they've done really detailed profiles of every single ward, constituency, region, locality in the UK.
Yeah.
And it just means you can get a real... So then...
We can share these, can't we?
Of course you can. They're publicly available.
Okay.
It's why I talk about them, because the data's available.
Start with who you are, or
it's the whole understand piece.
Exactly.
Isn't it?
Understand.
But it's a bit about understanding your market, and I think this will apply again to all of the different size organisations that we're talking about, and breaking it down, how to break it down, and then going into what.
Go on. In the understand piece, you're looking at the market, you're looking at yourself, you're looking down into the detail of where's the streets that I should be focusing on, where I'm going to get the best results. Go to that granular level.
Okay.
And, there are agents that are going to be listening to this that think I wouldn't even know where to start with that. And I'm obviously not going to do a pitch for either of us at this point, but there's help out there if you need it. But I think having that real granular detail in terms of a market and marketing and brand strategy sounds like a huge thing to do and a lot of work. But essentially what it gives you is it gives you your true north and your map to be able to get there. And without that, you are going to go off on tangents and not get to exactly where you want to be in the quickest possible time with the best possible results. Right. So the strategy, the understand, is for any business, self-employed, employed, whatever that model is a must first step.
Okay. This is going to sound very self-serving, and it is actually self-serving, but actually there's a reason why I did it, because I used to work for Keller Williams, which is one of the biggest, is the biggest globally self-employed. I learned a lot, and I really understood what self-employment was about. I'd read the voice of the agent. I only say that because you'll get a view from 1,000 estate agents, which you can just check your prejudices at the door and go, this is what the best in the industry are doing. I would then reach out to experts. I'd call Kirsty, I'd call me, I'd call the other names that are on lists of people who understand marketing, and just go, could I just run this past you?
Well, I totally, and I mean, I'm only bringing people onto the show that I think have got something to say and the track record.
Sorry to let you down.
Prove it. So unfortunately, we had one guest that couldn't make it. So side note.
Scary, there's some truth in that. I'm always available for podcasts whenever you want me.
Bar mitzvahs. But the point, I think the point I'm making to anyone watching is that I really want you to kind of don't ignore this, because sales and marketing has never been closer together. And I think we're in danger.
Can I just jump in there?
I
just need to jump in there.
Yeah, go for it.
Not sales and marketing then sales.
Okay.
It's I really get I get quite precious about this. Is marketing precedes sales. Okay. Sales and marketing sounds like marketing is subsidiary.
Started with that, shouldn't I?
Yeah, and
we would have been here all day, Matt.
Because if you get your marketing right, you're all right, Kirsty. We'll with you afterwards. So if you I'm going to keep going with this. I don't care if you're not listening. If you start with your marketing, your sales gets easier.
Yeah.
So marketing then sales, not sales and marketing.
I've only been in the industry for 30 years, nearly. I know I don't. Thank you. But
don't say that.
But I've always gone sales and marketing.
I know, and it
marketing
really bugs me.
Marketing
and sales.
I know you're going to agree. Bloody hell, the pair of you. But we'll be sharing your contact details through the podcast and stuff. But the sales and marketing approach for me is something. No, for us, as where I've been wedged to, is because that's what we know, right? And you'll be the same watching this. You'll be thinking, well, yeah, we want to just get houses on the market. I had a message from this brilliant agent. You can tell, and I can tell straight away who's going to take off and who's just going to stay on the tarmac. Even before they start, he's working somewhere, he's done this, he's done that. He's learning, he's watching videos, and the bit I said to him is about what you said, and I think it might have been off the back of maybe you kind of in my ear the other day telling me about start there, because I know that if I went back today, I would start differently than where we are right now, full vulnerability. But because he's just going to go like a race, he's gone down the racetrack. He's going to be going, he's the laps around the block. He's already there, and I know what's going to happen. And I just asked him to look at maybe that aspect first, and he was like, I hadn't even really thought about that. And so I sent him Simon's details. But no, seriously. Wow. But no, what I thought is this: that even if you're awesome at sales and estate agents, yes, you'll get off to a strong start. Yes, you will make sales, get listings, because that's what you do best. but it's not sustainable, right? And that's the point about marketing, then sales. And also, just to add my learning from today, is that who do you actually want to work with? Because I think when we started gigs, we were off like an absolute rocket, and we've done in most of the business exactly the same thing, and it has worked. But I would say that we fell into the trap of trying to work with most of the market, and most of the market becomes quite diluted then, and then you end up having more challenges, should we say. And it's also the same, not saying we're going down this approach with marketing, but you're marketing to your future staff as well.
Yeah.
100%.
So if you think about who you want around you in your business, one of the things that you will know when you're growing an estate agency or in a business, you want kind of people that are pretty aligned.
Not you do.
They're not echo
Culturally.
chambers, but culturally aligned.
The two things that came out of the voice of the agent were the biggest challenges the industry faces for the voice of the agent were leads, getting lead generation, talent, recruiting talent. If your brand is good, good people come to you. So
this guy, I'm introducing one of you two soon, but he's brilliant, lovely guy, brilliant at listing, but not a business owner. He struggles to manage people and everything else, and he's always gone through recruiters. No disrespect to one of my previous guests. Spent a lot of money on recruiters, and the turnover's been horrendous. And actually, for the first time in the last 12 months since we've been working together, he's starting to bring in people that he can attract. But there's loads of work that we need to do that, because actually, I think if you're putting out the things that are authentic to your business, your brand, your culture, you will start to resonate to the people that want to work within that environment. So it goes around, doesn't it? Marketing,
of course it does.
Goes around not just the client's lead gen, it goes around to who do you want to work with, who do you need to work with.
But you've got to commit to it consistently.
How long does this take to get going from the off? What's your general, if someone was like, they're an A+ at doing this, what would A+ look like as an agent investing time into a process of understanding this first before they go out the blocks? Or let's revisit it now and go through the process. What sort of time does that
in terms
take?
of creating a marketing strategy?
Yeah, and digging into the who.
Yeah, well, it depends if you're doing that yourself or you're getting help to do it.
I think you need to get help. That's my personal opinion.
I think you need to get help. And I think, as an estate agent, if you were getting help to create your strategy, you'd be committing kind of a day of your time to do this, and then you'd be delivered a full marketing strategy within kind of 5 to 6 weeks, because there's an awful lot that goes into pulling that together rather than just on top of just the conversation with the estate agent. But what it gives you then is a really clear plan. And I think I'm conscious of time as well, but I just want to make sure that we've got some takeaways for the listeners as well. Once you've got that strategy, it's going to give you a clear picture of what you're trying to achieve, how you're trying to achieve it, and what the tactics are going to be to deliver that. What's also absolutely imperative is that you put metrics around all of this. So every single piece of marketing activity that you are doing, you can measure it. Because how do you know what success looks like? How do you know you're getting a good return on investment from your marketing spend if you're not putting metrics against your marketing activity to measure against? But what I would say is your marketing activity can grow. You don't have to start out the blocks at 100 miles an hour. It's better to be realistic with your time and your budget. Start small on the activities, a mix of brand and lead generation that is going to deliver some results quite quickly. And as you see that you are gaining momentum, as you see that you are getting a return on investment, then you build. Because the worst possible thing to do is start something and pull back, because that is going to have a negative impact on your brand.
I've done that a lot over the years. We said about ADHD. I do fall into the habit of trying different things. I have been consistent over the years for obvious reasons. Otherwise, there's an element of success that I wouldn't have achieved.
There's some hard research behind what Kirsty's saying there by the Ehrenberg Bass Institute in Australia, which has shown that if you start something and cut it, you do more damage than if you've done it in the first place.
Oh, right.
And I would suggest as well, in terms of timescales, is you need to give yourself 2 years. I think you need to have a 2-year plan. And at 2 years, you probably should be reaching the point where you can go, the business is going or not. So while you might need a 6-month sort of runway to get you through the immediate cash loss of not having a salary, or 12 months, I would advise, actually, because you never know what's going to happen with the market. 6 to 12 months, but you really want to give yourself 2 years to get to what I'd call cruising altitude. And that's the point when you'll know if this is a goer or not.
Okay.
If you give up too soon, you may just be on the edge of success.
Yeah.
And if you go beyond 2 years and it's still not working, have a real hard look at yourself in the mirror and go,
But even,
is it working?
Even for established estate agents who want to have kind of the next phase of their evolution, or the next phase of their lead gen journey,
or reinvent yourself.
But you also need some patience. So the amount of times that I have, we're not talking about me today. The amount.
What do you reckon? Do you think Kirsty's got patience? What about Simon? I reckon Simon's probably got a little bit more patience.
But the amount of times that I hear, oh, we turned on a Facebook ad campaign and after 5 weeks it wasn't working, so we turned it off. So A, it was scattergun. B, it was done with no clear objectives and a plan in mind. And and C, 5 weeks, you're not going to get the results that you want in 5 weeks. You should be starting to see some leads, yes, but not, it grows.
Because even if you're getting val leads, what do you mean, online
instant
valuations,
val leads or whatever,
you're talking probably a year to 18 months before some of those will pay off.
Of course, it's a slow burn.
Okay.
Google argues you need to create 7 hours worth of content with a potential customer.
Right.
7 hours. So you're not going to do that in a month or a week or a day. You're going to do that over a long period of time. So you need to be patient. Patience is your superpower. Most entrepreneurs don't have it, but ultimately it is their superpower.
Patience, estate agents. Patience, estate agents. Patience, Kirsty Franks. Patience, Simon Leadbetter. It's probably a bit like me, gets distracted. I've really enjoyed it. It's been really nice. I've learned a lot, actually, and I'm really keen to share my learnings after. But I just want to say a massive thank you. It's a huge investment for the guests coming on. So if you are interested in coming on, it is an investment. It's your time, but you've got to have something to share. And that's what these guests have done today. And thank you to you as well,
Pleasure.
Simon. That's a wrap for today. Thanks so much for listening. Make sure you subscribe and download. Make sure you comment and tell me how great we are and how much we can improve, obviously. And I'll see you on the other side.